Hey guys, Clumsy here, and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. We are doing a full IFR flight today, and I'd like to show you some of the exact steps that I take to guide some of the people that are getting into the sim, getting into pilot to ATC, and trying to synchronize their flight plan across different applications. I've gotten a couple of questions about that. So we'll start things off. We are still using FS Economy. I am planning to use On Air Company in the future, but currently they're having server issues. So once that stabilizes, we'll get into that. But for now, FS Economy it is, flying our favorite TBM 930. So we will be flying from Moubre to Liège in Belgium. It's Echo Bravo Tango Yankee to Echo Bravo Lima Golf. This line right here, these two passengers will be taking them. 75 nautical miles, not that far away. But we'll do everything from start to finish, so video might be a bit lengthy. Anyway, so a tool that I'd like to use, especially with a TBM, is SimBrief. SimBrief is perfect for airliners, but some of the GA planes are also in here if you're lucky. I think there's also a capability to add your own plane in, but I am not familiar with that yet. But thankfully the TBM is here, at least somewhere close to it. So simbrief.com is where you go. You might have to register for an account, but then you go to the dispatch system here, and then you'll have a chance to create a new flight. So for us, make sure that the units are in pounds, because Microsoft Flight Sim is only supporting pounds unit right now, not yet in kg, so we'll have to work with that. And then we put in our departure airport, Echo Bravo Tango Yankee to Echo Bravo Lima Golf. Did I get that right? We'll see, it loads up. So it's looking for the flight plan already. Now depending on the server load, that may take a while. But there, it finishes eventually. If you have a Navigraph subscription, you can also sync it up here. So it uses the latest nav aids for you. But for us, looks like the flight plan is going to be very basic. Direct Civ, join the Civ 5 X-ray arrival. So that looks pretty straightforward. So let's have a look here. So that is... Okay, let me just verify. Bravo Tango Yankee to Bravo Lima Golf. Yes, exactly. Okay. And when we have an alternate that was put in for us, that's fine. Alright. So the airframe, this is where I am not familiar how to add your own. As you can see, there is an open aircraft editor here. There are some which are already built in, but most of these are airliners. But there are some which are GAs, like the Cirrus Jet. The TBM9 is what we're interested in, this one. So more or less, this would give us proper climb profiles and the different statistics for our plane. So that looks good right there. It also gets the weather in real life and assigns a departure and arrival runway based on that. So that looks pretty cool. Once that looks good, generate OFP. That will load a bit, and then it will come up with the exact flight plan, including how high we go. There should be a cruising altitude here. I'm not very familiar how to read this. I always go and look at the PDF. That's what I'm more familiar with. So the PDF would be all professional looking, something like what a real airline would use. So we are going to be cruising at, well, it's going to be pretty low. 013, huh? Is that 1,300 feet? Am I reading this right? Not even flight level 130. Alright, maybe I'll have to double check that. It is 130. There. Yeah, it is 130. I'm just reading it wrong. So it's 13,000 feet. And then we plugged in those airports. It would even have the weight information for us, so we can plug this into the sim. But we'll do that step by step. Right, so from here, we go back to that page before we press the PDF version. And here we click Download FMS. Once we do that, we'll get into this flight plan downloads section where we have different formats. In particular, we're interested in FS 2020 format right here. It will get saved as a .pln file. Just download that. Put that somewhere in your hard drive. You decide where you put it. Just remember where, because you'll be using that to load stuff in from pilot to ATC and in the sim itself. So here's pilot to ATC. How we do that is we click the import button right here. And then that's the one we made. Yes, that's from today. So we load that up, give it a bit of time, and it should load the exact flight plan for us. Now some of the runways actually might be different. Gives us runway 11 instead of the other one, because if you look in the flight plan that it decided, it's actually planning for a runway 29. So you can choose to override that or just follow whatever pilot to ATC gives you, either way. But the arrival is what's important, and that looks good. And also remember, depending on your config options in pilot to ATC, if ATC would override the SID and star, if you want it to assign on its own, then you check that and approach as well. Or if you want to assign everything on your own, untick that. When working with SimBrief, I prefer to keep the SIDs and stars unticked, because oftentimes SimBrief would already have a SID and star if applicable. So I don't want ATC to override what I put in. So I untick those two, but approach I tick, because usually SimBrief doesn't give you the approach. So SID I enter, there is really nothing in here. So we just keep runway 11, that should be fine. I mean, I don't think there is any weather found here. For the star, so runway 22 left, Civ 5 X-ray is what SimBrief gave us, so let's plug that in. There you go, transition is Civ. That looks good. And then for approach, I'll keep it blank. At the cruising altitude is flight level 130. And then if I look at the ATC flight plan, the planned ground speed for us is 281 knots right here. So planned ground speed is 281 knots. That should be more or less okay. Okay, that looks good. Alright, we'll continue this later because we'll need to be connected to the sim before we file it. And before we can connect, we have to be inside the plane already. So it will not work properly if you are still in the main menu. So let's put that here. So most of the stuff is in pilot to ATC already. Now let's set things up in the map here. So here we press load, or first we go and set up the plane. Now choose the TBM 930. For myself, I actually made a different variant because in FS Economy I have the TBM 850. So I modified some of the files so that it would recognize as a TBM 850 instead. Alright, that looks good. Now we do have the weight and balance. Put this in pounds. Let's compare this. So I go to the, where can I keep this? Maybe here. Oh, it's hard. Times and weights. So you can see that the let's do it this way. Okay. Cargo payload is 1.4. All of these should be in pounds because I chose pounds in the beginning. Zero fuel weight is 6, and where I would look at is here, the fuel over max allowable, and then payload, max payload. So it says here the fuel should be 1.0, 1,000 pounds, so that should be close enough, right? Maybe we increase just a bit. Something like that. Yeah, a little bit over 1,000 pounds. I'm sure some of the pilots would add more for proper allowance depending on the conditions. And in terms of the payload here, over max payload, it says 340 out of 1748 pounds. Payload is actually 1.4 in our flight plan here, so it's simulating a bit heavier. Although in our case, because we are using FS Economy, that's a good point. Actually, scrap this entire thing. This entire weight and payload and weight and fuel will only matter if you are not using any other app like FS Economy or On Air. Otherwise, it will override that anyway. So let's scrap that. Forget what I said. Let's skip that part and let's load in the flight plan. So you press space here or click this button for to load. It can accept a .flt or .pln file. Load that and then go to the directory where you saved your SimBrief flight plan. That's the same one we loaded in to pilot to ATC. And here we see it does detect the Maubrey to Liège flight. It says 14 minutes with this plane, pretty short. That is going via the arrival would be the Civ 5 X-ray. That looks pretty good. So depending on the complexity of your flight plan, sometimes it can accept it. Sometimes it's incompatible, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you'll have to adjust. In our case, yeah, that's a bit of a challenge here. So there are no gates. Normally when you load a flight plan, it would put you on a runway. And if you want to start cold and dark, then you would have to change that to a gate or a parking. But in our case, in this particular airport, there is no option like that. So we have to really go via runway, like so. The problem is when you start doing that, when you start clicking on this, there's currently a bug that sometimes it kind of distorts the picture. Sometimes it removes your SID, sometimes it removes the star. But yeah, it's right now I think it's more or less okay still. So we'll keep it this way, right? So that looks good. So if you look at pilot to ATC, in terms of the waypoints, it does look pretty much similar. Let's see, Civ, Kilom, Civ 5, X-ray. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks okay. Alright. So we'll go with this. I'll load this up and then I'll see you guys in the cockpit. Catch you in a sec. Welcome back. Now inside the cockpit of the TBM 930. Looks pretty good. Before I forget, let's start the flight from FS Economy. That's the number one thing you are likely to forget. That has started. That looks good. Everything is synchronized. Payload and weight are synchronized. Okay. And then now we can also go and file this flight plan. So now we should be able to connect. I have FSU IPC7. Open. Connect that. Alright, connected. It does give you some frequencies. 125.0 is where we can tune in. I don't think this field has any frequencies in here. So we can tune into that one. 125 transfer. Good. And then here, going back here, we validate the flight plan and then we file it this time. Also, thank you guys for the comments on the previous video. I actually realized something. So if you go to the config screen here, some of you guys were complaining about the voices. About the robotic nature, I cannot really change anything. But about the same voices for different frequencies. Like my co-pilot has this voice.
This is Microsoft, Mark. I will be your co-pilot for the flight.
So normally when we speak with someone on the tower or on center, it's ideal if they don't have that same voice. But in my previous flight, in the VFR flight I did, they actually had the same voice, which was a bit unnerving because it seemed like it was talking to itself. So what you can do is I set a co-pilot. You can set each voice to a specific frequency so that they would always be different. But if you're like me and you like random voices, like I want a specific voice for my co-pilot, but I want different voices randomly for everything else. So what I can actually do is set that to here. For example, Microsoft Mark in the co-pilot.
This is Microsoft, Mark. I will be your co-pilot for the flight.
That's the voice, and everything else can be random. But in order to avoid Mark from being included in that list of random voices, I can delete him from here because you'd have to add him here initially anyway. Initially this random voice list is small and you would have to add each one. So what I can do is this one, Mark.
This is Microsoft, Mark. I will be one of your random voices for this flight.
Yeah, that's the same guy, right? So we can delete that. And now there should be no chance of Mark being a co-pilot and someone on the other end of the line. Right, so hopefully that works. Anyway, alright, that's good. So we are tuned into center. We have a valid file plan, a valid flight plan filed. Now we can request for clearance from the center.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima ready to copy IFR clearance.
To a different screen.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima is cleared to Echo Bravo Lima Golf is filed. Expect departure runway 11. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet.
4,000
Expect
feet.
higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 4315.
4315. You might have noticed the voice is actually the same still. And that's because probably the voice is loaded in already. So what I can do, let's try that again. So if you change the voice and that problem is still there, let's bring it back here. Disconnect from the sim, connect again to refresh the settings. Hope this time that works. Right, so validate and file it. All three are good. Simulator is connected, recognition engine is installed, and grammars are loaded. Those three are what you're looking for. Okay, good. So now let's try that again. Hopefully this time no same voices.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima ready to copy IFR clearance. TBM 1 Charlie Lima is cleared to Echo Bravo Lima Golf is filed.
For real?
Expect departure runway 11. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 6140.
I did delete him here already. Maybe we have to restart the actual application. My goodness. Alright. Let's give that a go. Troubleshooting episode. Well, this will at least apply if you're trying this on your own. While that's loading up, let me share something here. You can check out the mods list link in the video description for this very nice mod. In the meantime, you might have encountered this at one point. You were flying the TBM 930 and it's just super bright, the panels. And if you're flying at night, that will not do. Look at this. I can actually use the panels to change the brightness. This panel knob to change the brightness of the glass cockpit, like that. That is normally not possible, but thanks to that quick mod that someone made over in the Flight Sim forums, that's now a possibility. So it's perfect for night flying. Go and check it out. There is a link in the mods list where you can download it. That's free, of course. Alright, I loaded it up again. I hope this time it works. Voices. Mark is there. Mark is not here. Okay, let's hope that this time those combinations are working correctly. Alright, let's go and connect to the sim. We'll have to import the flight plan again. Alright, and then put in also the star Civ 5 X-ray transition Civ. Looking good. There we go. Now it looks like they're giving us a different approach based on the weather. That might be interesting. Now let's just change that. Change that to runway 22 left, I think is what they gave us initially. Maybe the weather in... Oh, this is one more thing. If you look at Liège here, you can actually click the weather button, and it will show you the weather right there. The winds are 359 at 1, so pretty calm winds. So not really that particular with it. And the wind here, the weather is being retrieved from whatever you choose on this one. So this is from NOAA Real Weather. So that's the Real Weather Online. Right? Anyway, so that looks good. Let's see if we can file that. Must be the same runway. So pick the same runway, 22 left, and Civ 5 X-ray. Alright, so now the arrival is for runway 22 and the approach is for runway 22 left. Both 22 left. Looks good. File that. Let's see if that will change. Okay, that looks good, and now they are giving us a direct approach on the ILS. So they'll give us vectors most likely going there. We'll see how that works. Alright, so let's hope that this time it works. We are tuned into the center supposedly. that again. Maybe just needs a little bit of a refresh. There we go. So now we can request for clearance.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima
That's our
ready to
co-pilot's
copy
voice.
IFR clearance.
TBM 1 Charlie
There we
Lima
go.
is cleared
Different
to
voice.
Echo Bravo Lima Golf is filed.
Perfect.
Expect departure runway 11.
1-1.
Climb and maintain 4,000 feet.
4,000 feet.
Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 4335.
4335.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima is cleared to Echo Bravo Lima Golf is filed. Climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect higher clearances 2 minutes after departure. Squawk 4335.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima read back correct. Contact us for IFR release when number 1 for departure.
We'll contact you for IFR release. TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Alright, looks good. So mode, you can see this is one of the limitations at the moment. I set the transponder code to 4335 in the plane, and that is detected here in pilot ATC, but you can see the mode is still off, even though in the plane it says already altitude reporting. So we have to change that manually for now. Yeah, hopefully that gets improved in a future update. I guess that's an FSU IPC7 inconsistency, if I were to think on it. Alright, that looks good. Then let's request for an IFR release.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima ready for IFR release. Runway 11 at Echo Bravo Tango Yankee.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, you are released for departure. Runway 11 after takeoff, turn left to heading 043, then proceed direct Golf India Lima Oscar Mike, climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Release for departure void at 053 Zulu. Advise with alternate intentions no later than 058 Zulu. Time now is 046 Zulu.
Nice, that's a lot of info.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima released for departure. Runway 11 after takeoff, turn left to heading 043, then direct
043.
Golf India Lima Oscar Mike, climb and maintain 4,000 feet. Release for departure void at 053 Zulu.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima read back correct. Contact us when airborne.
Wilco DBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay. We are set for takeoff. Holding the brakes here. Setting the torque is good. Right, releasing that and setting for takeoff power. Now we are taking off from grass. Hopefully it's not that different, but we will see shortly how that's working out for us. Airspeed is alive. Get some ground effect to help us rotate. There we go. Positive rate, gear up. That was quite close, but that's okay. We managed in the end. Now it did tell us to turn left. 043 heading, so we're turning left now. Straight to Gilom, they said, but it's a bit different from the flight plan, so I'm not sure what they have planned for us. Pilot to ATC might be a bit buggy in this case. Yeah, that's a bit strange. Yeah, it looks like the flight plan is bugged. I might have to adjust that. Flaps up. ITT, that's interesting. First time I've seen ITT hit that mark. And also with the inertial separator on, that shouldn't be happening. Right. Actually, lights will stay on. Okay. Let's go ahead and join the flight plan here. I'm flying it manually for the moment. Yeah, it looks like there is something wrong with the flight plan. Let's see if I can remedy that along the way. Let's report first.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima climbing to 4,000 feet.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact. Climb and maintain flight level 090.
090.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, climb and maintain flight level 090.
Climb and maintain flight level 090. TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Let's move to standard altimeter. To 992 since we cannot use the hectopascals unit yet, QNH. Alright, that looks good. Let's merge into the flight plan here. Now I might have to adjust the... Let's go to nav mode. Flight director on. Yaw damper, autopilot on. Let's let the plane take care of following the flight plan for us. And then the vertical autopilot, I just set it for pitch at the moment. Actually, you know what? No, that should be... Flight level change may be better. Oh man, that's a beautiful sunrise. That is an amazing sight. My goodness. Wow, let's take a photo of that. Okay. So there is something wrong with the import, and this is likely, so it's highly recommended that you review the flight plan. Even if you import it, it's not going to be perfect all the time. Case in point, look at this. We are starting from Mowbray, so same airport. It asks us to go direct to Gilom, but look at this. The weird thing is, after Gilom, it wants us to go back to Civ. But Gilom is right here already in the middle, and Civ is right there. So it's like Gilom and then back to Civ, and then back to Gilom again. So this waypoint is actually not correct. So yeah, it's a bit hairy. We'll have to adjust that. Let's see if I can remove that waypoint.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima climb and maintain flight level 130.
130. That's going to be our cruising altitude.
Climb and maintain flight level 130 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay, that looks good. So I've changed the flight plan, and now it looks correct. There's no more from Gilom back to Civ, but we'll have to validate and file that again. And I think we might need to like request for an additional clearance there. Let's see how the app will...
TBM 1 Charlie Lima expect the CIB 5 X-ray arrival with the CIB transition for the ILS approach to runway 22 left at Leach. TBM 1 Charlie Lima descend via the CIB 5X arrival with the CIB transition to 2,500 feet.
Wow.
QNH is 1024 at Mowbray.
Descend via the Civ 5X arrival with the Civ transition to 2,500 feet. QNH is 1024 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
There you go. So they're actually asking us to descend now already to 2,500 feet, which is strange. If we look here, we're still 62 miles away. If we factor in our current height, 10,000, let's say we have to... Yeah, it's too early. That is too early. Man, that looks good
TBM
though,
1
doesn't
Charlie
it?
Lima turn left heading 077 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 22 left at Leach. Contact approach on 119.27. Good morning.
So many instructions.
Heading 077 vectors to the ILS approach for runway 22 left approach on 119.27 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Go to heading mode. Let's go and hit that to transfer. Switching to approach. And we'll report that we are descending via the SID. 2,500 feet.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima descending to 2,500 feet.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact.
Yeah, sometimes pilot ATC might end up giving you something weird. Let me try and refile that
TBM
again.
1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 082.
Heading 082 DBM 1 Charlie Lima.
There we go. Validate that and file it. Alright. So I have refiled it. I brought back the SID. But I'm not sure if it will recognize the change. We'll see. Or do I have to like file for another IFR clearance?
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn left heading 069er.
069er. It does seem like it's recognizing the change because it's getting me there again. Interesting how this is working. That looks correct. Have they told us yet what to expect in terms of the approach? I remember they told us to descend by the Civ 5 X-ray arrival. They did. So I'm looking through the log here. That's one advantage. Expect Civ 5 X-ray arrival, the Civ transition, ILS approach to runway 22 left. So they did give us that a while ago already, amidst the barrage of instructions. So now we can do is go to procedure. Oh, that hasn't loaded in yet. Go to flight plan, wait for that to load. In the meantime, I can tweak my panel lighting here. I can start increasing that now because the sun is coming up. Come on, load up. What do you guys do when the flight plan doesn't load in? I think it's a matter of delays. I guess it's like a server delay or something. There you go. Now it's there. Alright, so now it does detect...
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 077.
077.
Heading 077 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
So it says approach would be ILS 22 left. That one. And the transition would actually be... There actually should be no transition here. So let's load that. My fear is when I load this might change. So I don't think I will load the approach yet. I'll only load the approach after we cross that last waypoint, which is Kilo. And in the meantime, let's go and load that up in Navigraph so we have charts available. So this is also one nice thing if you have Navigraph. If you go to flights and then new flight, you can download it from file, or it actually has direct connection to SimBrief. Remember we started with SimBrief, loading the flight plan and everything. So it detects that latest flight plan that we filed. So you can use that and it loads up everything. There you go. Just like that. And then from here you can like load a chart, overlay that in right here. There you go. And then looks like there is a VOR then 115.45. We can tune that for additional guidance. 115.45 on nav2 maybe. Just in case the GPS screws up again, we have something to fall back to. So let's go here, put in the wind. Oh, we have a 9 knot tailwind, very good for flying. Bearing 2 enable. There we go, 40 miles away from Liège. UR. That looks good. Oh, that is beautiful sunrise. Cannot get over it. Okay, and then the approach, we've been told to expect ILS 22 left. Yeah, that's interesting because I think normally there should
TBM 1
not
Charlie
be...
Lima, turn left heading 071.
Heading 071 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay, so we're just getting like left and right instructions here because we're following the SID. So instead of, and I'm not sure if this is accurate in real life, because normally it looks like this approach only has a Liège transition. Look at it here. So if you look at ILS 22 left, there we go, final, there you go. So we have been told by ATC to expect vectors to the final. So instead of following the initial approach fix of Liège, which is starting from overflying the airport and then following this route, we were told to expect the vectors to final. So we don't follow that original path. We just, ATC will give us instructions, and then eventually they'll lead us up to this final approach course right here. So we put final in here, add that route. That's there. You can see ILS22 left final, and then we can overlay that in the chart, and then we can use that as reference. So we see that the ILS frequency is 109.35. We can plug that in already in nav1. I like putting the ILS in nav1. 109.35 transfer. When we put nav1 here, well, it will stir a bit too far, so we're not detecting it yet, but that should come up soon. And then once it's there, Liège is 115.45. We do have that. If we're following the Liège initial approach fix, so we should be like overflying the airport and then heading 027 degrees or 033 degrees for smaller aircraft like us. And then at 8.5 DME, 8.5 miles away from Liège, we should be turning right to intercept the localizer, 224 degrees. But in our case, we don't follow this part. We've been told by ATC to just follow whatever heading they give us, and then they'll lead us on this final approach later on.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 077.
077.
Heading 077 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
There you go. It's looking good. We are getting close to the airport, and we have crossed Gilom already. We are now on direct to Liège. So now I can say approach ILS22 left Liège. Can I just load that, or can I load and activate maybe? You know what? I'll load and activate. It should be mostly the same anyway. We're not going to follow this navigation anyway, because ATC is giving us instructions so that we end up on the final approach. That should be okay. What's important though is to study the layout of the airport, so we know what we're expecting once we get there. This is why I really love Navigraph Charts. Gives me a full immersion on the flight. Gives you idea on all these charts. Spin that. You can even pin the different charts together, so you can access them easily. Spin all of those. So the airport itself, how it looks like, will be approaching 22 left is going to be where we're landing. 224 degrees is the final approach, the runway heading. And
TBM
then
1 Charlie Lima, turn left heading 072.
072. TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Heading 072 DBM 1 Charlie Lima.
I guess it's in the... Actually, I forgot to descend, haven't I? Yeah, that's a problem.
Landing gear.
That means we'll have to really rush things now. How far are we? Away are we? 90 nautical miles if we need to lose 7,000. Let's have a look at the chart here. What is the final approach fix? The altitude that we need to be at is 2,500. We're currently at 9,500, so we need to lose what? 7,000. 7 times 3, 21 nautical miles. We're not that far away, so we're actually pretty good here. So yeah, this kind of descent should land us properly into the 2,500 feet range by the time we get there. Okay, that looks good. We'll keep this kind of descent going. Alright, let's go back to the chart. Let's study this 2,500 approach fix. And the approach course is 224. Minimums would be... Where would be the minimums in this case? Over here. This one, I guess. Category 1 would probably be it. Because the other one is localizer with glide slope out. We do have the glide slope working for us. Should be. So I guess it's got that one, 795 feet. We'll plug that in here just for additional guidance. PFD minimums. Barrow 795 feet. and that will add a baro minimum right there. That should just give us additional guidance later. You can see the ILS is now being tracked 15.2 nautical miles away, India Lima Golf. Let's verify that in the chart it is the same identifier. Indeed, India Lima Golf. So we have the proper ILS tuned. Nice. Okay. So I'll keep this on the right side here just so I can see it on my other screen. Actually, you know what? Let me bring it back. Oh, you see the glide slope now. Even though it's still in white, you can see it there. Actually approaching it quickly. So we'll be landing at runway 22 left. We'll probably be able to exit. Now I wonder where the GA. Let's turn left. Let's hope that the parking is somewhere here. And then we turn left. That's not really friendly for us, huh? We'll have to do a very sharp turn, but being a small plane we should be able to manage. So I guess by Sierra 3 we should be able to turn left here already, because the other one is Sierra 2, which is pretty far away. Either way, we'll find somewhere we can get off the runway in a properly safe manner. There's actually a plane there in the back, and pilot to ATC does see multiplayer planes, actually AI planes. It does not see the real players yet.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 077.
077.
Heading 077 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay, let's also tune in the tower frequency 118.130, just to prepare that when they ask us to switch, so we won't have to plug that in later on. We go one step ahead of the flight. There we go, 2,500 feet. We are here already. Actually, autopilot overshot that a bit, but that's fine. Looking good. We're getting pretty close here as well. You can zoom into the MFD. That's where we're expecting to be vectored into. Charlie Foxtrot 22 Lima, that one. Okay, looking good. 2,500. We have not been given the QNH. I'll just press B here in the meantime, so we get the local QNH setting, get the proper altitude in this area. Vectors all throughout, but yeah, that's amazing. Being vectored all throughout, it's like you're being babied by ATC. You don't get that in the default ATC, but with pilot to ATC, that is a possibility. Even if sometimes it's a bit excessive, depending on the combination you put in, it looks to be pretty good. Do you guys see the airport already? Should be on our right. Might still be a bit too far though. Don't see it that well yet. Zoom out just a tad here. Should be actually right there in their back. Let's go outside. Ah, it's that one. You can see the approach lights there. That might be exactly for runway 22 left. Beautiful. Take a screenshot here as well. Also, you can see this is also one mod that I downloaded. Even if I use my mouse, you know the white bar here that appears when you move your mouse? I hated that because it doesn't work well for screenshots. Sometimes you would have your screenshot with a white thing. There's a mod that actually removes that white thing even if you move your mouse here, like so. So check it out in the mods list. Link in the video description as always. Now I'm expecting we be given vectors to final to join and intercept the localizer. And since we are being actually given vectors here, I can actually safely
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn left heading 072.
There we go. 72. What's that move?
Heading 072 dBm 1 Charlie Lima.
I hope it's not asking me to go a weird path. I hope it didn't get totally confused, otherwise we'll have to land this manually. Right, so I'm staying at this speed, around 178, 177 knots, because that speed is exactly the safe speed when you can deploy, can extend flaps for takeoff, the first notch of flaps. That's the highest speed. What's ATC planning now? Normally they would have vectored me more properly this way. I wonder where it's going. Because if you look in the map, it does not seem to be consistent with where they're guiding me. Might have confused pilot to ATC with all the flight plan changes I've been doing. What we can probably do, well, we'll give it some more time. Maybe they'll vector us in from this other side. Maybe they're just giving us a chance to explore the city. Enjoy the view. 2,500 feet, not a bad altitude to start exploring. There's also another airport in here. Echo Hotel Bravo Kilo. Where? There. Nice. So if we go past this extended center line, extended runway center line right there, and they still haven't given us instructions, I'll try to tinker with the pilot to ATC settings from here and see if we need to do something more dramatic. Maybe it's not working properly as expected. Come on guys, I trust you. Maybe I shouldn't. Let's see if I can request something.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 077.
077. It looks like they just wanted us to go on a straight path. So what I'll do now, yeah, it doesn't seem like this is working. So let's try to do something. If we can request to maybe switch to the tower, let's see if they'll allow us. So if you go to request, frequency change to tower.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, request frequency change to tower.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, contact Leach Tower on 118.12. Have a good morning.
12.
Tower on 118.12 dBm 1 Charlie
Okay.
Lima.
It's a bit different. That's fine. Right, tower is there. And then from tower, maybe we can request an approach. Can we say inbound for ILS 22? Request ILS approach to runway. There's so many things here. This one.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, inbound at 2,500 feet, request ILS approach to runway 22 left.
Come on, answer me.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, good morning. Radar contact. QNH is 1025.
Okay. Is that it? Oh my goodness, I might have to turn here. Do I have to like file the flight plan again and everything? It would make this hard for me. Yeah, it looks like they're not giving us anything here. We are so far away now. What if we request for vectors? Yeah, requesting radar vectors. Okay, there is an option here. Inbound at 2,500, requesting radar vectors to ILS to runway 22 left.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, inbound at 2,500 feet, requesting radar vectors for ILS to runway 22 left.
on, work with me here.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima radar contact. Turn right heading 229er vectors to the ILS
There we
approach for
go.
runway 22 left at Liege, maintain 2,500 feet.
Heading 229er vectors to the ILS approach for runway 22 left, maintain 2,500 feet. TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
That's more like it. Now we're headed the right direction. So in case something screw up, all is not lost. You can change, you can give some commands, some requests, so that it will force the ATC to recalculate somewhat. In this time, we've asked specifically for radar vectors leading us to the airport. That's actually some pretty good guidance in there. Look at that. Heading 229, which is exactly direct to Liege VOR. If you look at that inbound course there, it's exactly the heading that we've been assigned to. Nice. So if we continue on this path, we will be ending up directly on the runway. That's where it is. It's a bit far still, and we have gone that far that we actually lost track of the ILS. Now we have it again. There you go. But we are too much on the left.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, turn right heading 247.
There we go. That's what I'm expecting.
Heading 247 TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Right, that is looking good. Beautiful. Not many other planes in the vicinity. Guess that makes sense, because in reality it should be what, 3:16 in the morning here in this place. I just changed the time. Otherwise I would always be flying at night here. Europe time zone and Singapore time zone don't mix very well for my mornings. Right. So now that one localizer should come close. That line should get closer and become a straight line as we intercept the localizer. The glide slope should come in soon as we get closer. We're 23 miles away. Come on guys, work with me here. You can actually go a bit faster here. You can slow down later. Maybe I have to below 200 knots. Should be fine. Or until ATC tells us to slow down. They do have that as well. Depending on the area, they have some speed restrictions, and that is
TBM
also
1 Charlie
considered.
Lima, turn left heading 229er.
There we go, 229er.
Heading 229er TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
229er. That's looking pretty good actually. We're almost on the proper intercept course, and now we see the glide slope coming up. Very good. 20 miles away from the airport, more or less. Let's talk about the missed approach procedure in case I muck up the landing. So missed approach procedure, looks like we go straight to 7 DME Liege, and then we turn right towards the VOR. Climb straight ahead, maximum 250 knots at 7 DME from Liege. Turn right to VOR, climbing to 3,000 feet. Okay, so 3,000 feet is the missed approach altitude. Right, in case we need it. I'll try to keep that in mind if I can remember. Good. We are getting pretty close. The line is getting closer and closer. Vectors by ATC work very good so far. Yeah, Pilot to ATC is a very powerful tool when it comes to this. It can have some bugs, it can have some incompatibilities, but once you learn how to work with it, it will get you to where you need to go with the full immersive experience. Now the ATC of Flight Sim 2020, it's a bit lacking at the moment, although they did give some indication that there will be ATC updates in patch number 2. And patch number 2 is coming in a few days, hopefully, maybe in a week or so, based on what they've said. So once that goes live, we'll see how the ATC improves. I highly doubt it will be at the same level as Pilot to ATC, but maybe for some specific instances it will be better. So we'll give it a go again. But for now, Pilot to ATC all the way. And we'll probably switch over to on-air manager once that is stabilized. I actually started a file there, a career there, Clumsy Airlines. So we'll start a series, but that will be in Manila, in the Philippines. That's where we'll be starting off at least. So I can focus more on my home country. Bit of a different view right there. Okay, how far away are we? 12 miles away. Okay, that's good. That's what I'm expecting. Now we can start slowing down. Slow down to 178 knots so I can extend flaps whenever I need to. There you go, that should be okay. Just balancing things with the throttle. The engine sounds are so good. You can clearly hear when your engine is struggling or when it's spooling down and when it's just cruising, chilling. Ooh, I wonder what that is. Is this some kind of mine? So right now we are not really... Yeah, if I look straight ahead, this is not really the proper path because 22 left is over there. So let me go and extend flaps here 1 notch just so we slow down. Let me wait for air traffic control to give us proper guidance. They have not told us anything yet. In the meantime, let me tune into ground here so that once we land, we just switch over frequency. Okay, staying 1 step ahead of the flight. Okay, we are far away on the left, on the right now. Runway 22 left is that one on the left. So why is Pilot to ATC not guiding us properly? Is it confused as well? We'll give it a chance. 1 dot away. Glide slope is 1 dot away. Extend the landing gear. It looks like Pilot to ATC gave out on me. I might have to adjust this last minute. And actually I forgot to arm the approach. It's my bad, there you go. Catch up with that. Yeah, it's a bit bugged. But at this point we definitely should have been given those instructions already. So unfortunately Pilot to ATC failed us this time. Might be with all that adjustment in the flight plan mid-flight. Probably not the advisable way of doing things. We're now below 122 knots though. So extend the flaps. They have not even given us clearance for landing. So yeah, it's a bit weird. This flight is a bit weird. I think I'll have to revisit that one. So if we learn anything from this flight, guys, don't fiddle around with the flight plan once you've started. I think the correct way is to request things separately, like direct to this waypoint instead of changing the flight plan manually. Otherwise, we might need to like replan it or refile it and request for a new IFR clearance, which makes a lot of sense. Right, here we are. 85 knots approach speed. We do need inertial separator and landing gear is on the entire way. Slow down here. Gears are down. Inertial separator is coming on. Flaps are full. Yaw damper is not yet off, but I'll take care of that later. So let me try and report to tower if they will actually give me clearance for
TBM 1
landing.
Charlie Lima established on final for ILS runway 22 left.
Too slow.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima winds are calm, cleared to land runway 22 left.
Cleared to land runway 22 left TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
So they're still there. They just got confused with the vectors to final, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, it might have something to do with me changing all that stuff mid-flight. So we'll see. Probably have to improve that better later on. Alright, turn off the autopilot in yaw damper. So everything is set for landing. Let's continue with the approach. Slow down here. Alright, that's more like it. 2 white, 2 red on the PAPI lights. We are a bit low in terms of what the glide slope is saying, so there's a bit of disconnect there. But visually, properly okay. We do have 2-3 knots of headwind, so which is pretty good. It's a very light, very minor crosswind in here. Extend that a bit. There you go. Alright. Yeah, the glide slope is very far away from what we're expecting. Might be a bit bugged there. That's fine, this looks good. Alright. Tune it down. Okay. Going to float here.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima exit runway when able.
My bad, not the best landing. Floaty bits, but we'll take it. So let's see where we are. That's how it is. Sometimes you land properly, sometimes you land. Okay, Sierra 3 indeed. We can make it out of Sierra 3. And we'll just land somewhere there. Exit through here. It's going to be a bit of a sharp turn. Should be fine. We are a small plane. Should be flexible enough for this turn. Moving flaps up. Axle lights. Turning off the pitot heater. Okay. Once you cross that line, we can say we're clear of the active. We are clear of the active.
Clear of active TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
TBM 1 Charlie Lima, welcome to Leech contact ground on 121.9er. Have a good stay.
Wrong
Ground
button.
on 121.9er TBM 1 Charlie Lima.
Okay, normally we would tune into ground, request for parking, they would guide us, but for us just to keep things faster, we'll just land, park somewhere here, and call it a flight. Not the smoothest flight, but it does teach me, every flight I do teaches me that not everything goes according to plan and you have to adjust on the go. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, learned a thing or two, or maybe have some tips for me. For sure, I often miss stuff every now and then. Plenty of things to learn still, so feel free to share those tips with me, so we are all constantly learning. Right? Anyway, let's put that. Good. Flight is logged in FS economy. And things are looking a-okay here. Let's just stop this one. Close everything off. If I can click that properly. And we are all good here. Love that sound. Alright. well, we are here. Thank you for joining me on this kind of long flight because of all the other steps that we took, but hopefully you guys picked up something from it. Let me know what you think. Looking forward to your comments, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day and clumsy flying, everybody. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.